Good evening. I'm here. I can see people are joining me. Thank you. I'm just checking my computer screen to make sure I can get the live up. Yeah, brilliant. I'm there. Great. Oh, lovely. Oh, lots of people watching. Hello. Good evening to you all. Hi, Jane. Good to see you. Hi, Fiona. Hi, Susan. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Lisa. Oh, lots of people I know as well. How lovely. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Karen. I won't go through lots and lots of hellos because I'm going to have to sit down in a minute and I won't be able to see that anyway. Right, I'm going to just try and make my computer screen so I can see any comments you make. Yeah, I can now. That's fine. Brilliant. Okay, so there's quite a few watching. Thank you for joining me. Those that don't know me, my name's Di Oliver and I own a company called Tando Creative Limited. So I want to just do a bit of a fun project with you this evening. It's because it's such a miserable day today, after all the lovely weather we've been having, I thought I'd use some nice bright colours and just try and cheer up the evening a little bit. So I'll get started. This is one of our, just a substrate that we've cut, which is from our new board, which is actually 4mm thick, which is fabulous. We're going to be doing lots more with that. It's really sturdy, it's great, takes all types of mediums, so I really like that. And then tonight I thought I'd have a little bit of a play with our whimsical birds. I don't know if you've seen those before, but they're just fun shapes that you can build up to make little birds. So I'm going to mount those up and then mount them up onto the substrate. So I'll get started. I'm going to be using paints. I tend to use Deco Art paints mainly because I'm used to that. So I'll get started on this. Okay, so first of all I want to put some paint down onto here. When you use grey board, you can either put on the paint straight onto the surface, or you can put a gesso down first. If you put a gesso down first, any paint that you put on is going to be fairly bright and vibrant, so you know, you don't have to use the gesso. So if you don't use the gesso, the paint will sink in more, but because it's mingled in with the grey board, you'll get a more vintage feel to it. So either way, but tonight I'm going to be doing it with gesso because I want the colours to be vibrant. So first of all, I'm just going to pop on, this is actually white acrylic paint as opposed to gesso, but that's fine too. I'm going to pop some of this on there. And hopefully I'm not getting out of shot here. My computer is a little bit slow at keeping up with everything. I'm in the conservatory, so I hope the light isn't too bad, and I'm as close as I can get to the broadband router, so hopefully we won't get any buffering either. Okay, now while the paint is wet, I want to add a little bit of colour to it so it blends in with the white, because I don't want to use the raw colour. You can mix colours on your palette, of course, but I quite like mixing it actually on the project. So I've used a little bit of cobalt teal. I'm just going to add a bit more white to this. like that. And then we can start adding some colour. Like that. Okay. And I quite like the fact that you can kind of create, it doesn't have to be too perfect a background. I don't like it too particularly well blended. I kind of like to have odd brush marks and things. But anyway, for this particular project, a lot of this is actually going to be covered up. It really is just the base. Okay, so that is that. I want to set that aside to dry now. And then I'm going to go on and I want to pick out one of the tags that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use 3 tags on this project. They're all going to be pretty much decorated the same. I've already pre-done some, so I'll just show you the one rather than you watch every single tag if it's all the same. So this is a grey board tag. It's a 2.25mm thick tag, so that takes quite a lot of mediums and things as well, which is good. The other good thing about it with the grey board is you can actually run it through an embossing folder as well, so that's a really good way to get some texture onto your grey board. Okay, I'm just going to clean my brush and I'll grab a bit of kitchen roll. And again, I'm going to start off with a coat of the white, like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a gradiated colour round the outside. So I'm going to just pick a colour. I'll go with a yellow. So I'll pop a bit of yellow on my palette. And then the way you do this is you load up half and half on your brush of the colours you want to use. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a slightly thinner brush. That one's a little bit wide. And then you take, I'll show you on camera in a second, you actually have, in this case, half yellow, half white on your brush. And what you want to do is with the colour to the outside, you want to run that backwards and forwards around the outside of your tag. And as you can see, that just blends that really nicely from the yellow on the outside to the white in the inside. We'll do this side as well. You just run that backwards and forwards. You can pull your brush down if you want to bring the colour a little bit further in. And then we can do the same top and bottom, like that, and like that. We just touch that in and then across the top, like that. Okay, and then if you want to, you can, if you want to, just smooth out the middle. I'm not going to worry in this particular case because I'm going to be sticking something over the top of it. But I think you can see how the colour graduates in from quite bright around the outside to quite white in the middle. So I shall pop that to one side. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some of these birds. Now there's two different types, there's 2 different sets, some that look sideways and some that look straight at you. And basically what you get is lots of different pieces that you can play with. They come in a big sheet, you just push them out and you get things like the little legs, and you get all different wings, and you get eyes and things like that. and you can put them together however you like. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with these. So I'll just pop that one and that one out the way. And then what I want to do is I want to actually brayer some colour onto this. So again, because I want it vibrant, I'm just going to pop some white paint over it, or gesso, whatever you want to use, like this. I won't worry too much about the edges because I have finished ones that I can use right at the end. Okay, so that's just with a bit of gesso, and then I'm going to get my brayer, there it is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of different colours on here. I'm going to start off with the yellow that I've just used on the tag. So the way I like to use a brayer is not necessarily to brayer out your colour on your palette, but to actually take some colour on your brush and put it around your brayer like that. I find it kind of, for one, controls it a little bit more, and two, you don't seem to waste so much paint on your palette. Okay, you want it quite evenly round, and then we'll just check that that is dry. Yeah, I'm just going to very lightly run that over the top of there like that. Okay, and then I'll get a wipe. Just want to clean off your brayer. And then for the second colour, I'm going to use a green. So I'll have a fresh brush. Okay, and then you want to make sure that where you've cleaned off your brayer, it's dry before you put your next lot of paint on, because if it's still wet, it will dilute the paint. So I'm going to go over with the next colour like that. And then very lightly, I'm going to brayer that across. Like that. So it just is a hint of colour. You still want to see the colour underneath coming through because we want to see the layers. And then to finish off, I'm going to use a little bit of the cobalt teal that I used on the base. So make sure your brayer's dry again. Like that. And then we probably want to just check that that is dry. It's not too bad, a little bit sticky. What I might just do, just give that a quick blast just to dry that off. I don't mind a bit of mixing, but if you're having a contrast in colours, then you don't want to have too much mixing because you can end up making your colours go a little bit muddy. That's better. So now I'm going to just go over with a little of this cobalt teal like that. Okay, so that one is done for the moment. We'll come back to him a little bit later, or her, whatever you want to have. So I'll pop him up there, and then I'm just going to take another one of these. In fact, I'm going to do these two together because they're using similar colours. So what I'm going to do is, with this one, I'm going to start off with the yellow again. Just clean my brush. There's a lot of brush cleaning in this. So, yellow on. Actually, I'm flying away here. What I do want to do before is I just want to pop some white paint on there, or gesso, just to give that a base. So I will do that very quickly. Getting ahead of myself as usual. So pop that on there, and then I'll do this one as well. Okay, right, so we'll just dry those off. And then I'll just pop a little bit more colour on this briar, because it might have dried off a bit. I'll kick off with the yellow. Okay. Now the other thing with this type of briaring, because you don't want too much that's coming out very green. Let me just change that. There's probably a bit of tarnish on my brush, I expect. I'll just gently wipe that back. Not that it matters if we have a little bit of green in there, really. Right, I'll get some more yellow, because I've run out of yellow. There it is. That's it. The other thing as well, when you're doing briaring where you want to see the layers coming through, is if you're just putting it on, just put on light coats, which is where it's an advantage when you're doing it with the paintbrush rather than putting it directly onto the paint, because then you tend to have less paint on the brayer. Yes, Denise, the birds are on the website, yes. That's better. That looks more like yellow rather than green. So I'm going to put a bit of yellow on that one. And then I'm going to go on to a very vibrant orange, which is vermilion. I'll just pop some of that on my palette. Clean my brush again. I think maybe I should have had about 15 brushes lined up, that might have helped. Okay, so I'm going to put some vermilion on my brayer, like that. And then this time I'm going to put a little bit on this one. Like that, and I'll do it again, but I'm going to put this on the other bird. Like that. Now that one I'm happy with, so I'm going to put that to one side. And then what I want to do is add a little bit of quinacridone red, which is a lovely vibrant red. this on my brayer. Like that. Oops, dropped the brush. So I'm just going to put a little layer of that on as well. So we've now got the 3 bodies of the birds done. So that's those 3 there. Okay. So now we can move on and we can do some of the other elements that go with them. So I'm going to grab this. This is one of the bird's heads, and basically you get lots of different eyes and beaks and things that you can use to decorate them with. So this one I've decided to go with that beak and those eyes. It's all just a bit of fun, and they can look really amusing. They're really lovely characters when they're done. So I'll just take that away. What I want to do now is on the head, I want to mix a little bit of the red, the quin red, with a little bit of white. And because I'm mixing it with white and I want a really pale colour, I don't actually need to pre-gesso this first, because that will go straight on like that. Don't need to worry too much about the beak area because we're going to cover that up anyway. What I've done on the finished pieces that I'll use when I put it all together is I've actually done all the sides as well. It does look better when the sides are done. But I mean, if I was to do that tonight, you'd get thoroughly bored watching me painting, I'm sure. So that's like the base colour for the bird. I'm going to grab another brush. I did have another one here somewhere. There it is. And this time I'm going to use a much smaller one. Actually, that's not the one I wanted. Let's try that one. That's probably a better one. I want a really tiny brush. And what I'm going to do again is the same technique that I did round the tag, but I'm going to use it on the bird's cheeks. So I'm still doing your 2 colours. You may not be able to see that particularly well. So it's half of the bright red and half of the white, or sort of like the pinky white. And then basically I'm going to run it so you've got the dark colour to the inside, and I'm going to run it round to create his cheeks. I'll just do that again with a bit more colour. Like that. And then I'm going to do that on the other side. So he's got some nice rosy cheeks. Like that. I actually did the brush the wrong way around there. Let's just go over that. That's better. So that's just given him a pair of nice rosy cheeks, like that. Okay, so I need to leave that to dry. So I'm going to pop him down over there, and then I'm going to go on to some of the wings and things. So we've got these wings that we're going to use, and this is a little tail that goes on the end of this bird here, like that. Now I'm not going to show you every single one because it's a little bit dull. I've done them all basically the same way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this one for now, and then I'll show you how I finished it off when it's completely dry. So again, we want to start off with a bit of white, like that. And then it needs to be dry. Let me just blast that a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the bright orange on. There. And this time I'm going to paint it straight on, so it's lovely and bright, like that. So when you use that with oh, I'm using it with this one. When you use it with that one, you can see that's a nice contrast to it, like that. So what I've done with the wings is I've painted them all kind of different colours. I've done a couple of wings for this one, they're both the orange. I've done another wing like this one, which is going to go over there, and that's going to go with that bird, and I've done that orange as well. I won't paint that because you're just watching the same thing over and over. And then I've also done a wing like this, and his tail feather, which I showed you a minute ago, there it is, which I've done in the cobalt teal. So what I'll show you now is what I'm going to do just to finish this off, to give it a little bit of a pop. It's really simple. All you need is a black pen and a white pen. So I've used a 0.8 fine liner and a very fine Posca pen. Now I have been standing up. I'm going to sit down for this because it's a little bit easier. So all I'm going to do is literally just dot around the edges of this in the black, and you just need to leave a reasonable gap between the dots. Like that. Okay, and then with the white pen I'm going to go in between, dotting again. Like that, and that's just giving it a bit of a pop. That one is going to go on to this one, so that's how that will look. So what I've done is I've got a couple that I've done already here, so I'll use those in a bit. And then what I've done with this one is I've done exactly the same technique, but I've done it on the teal like that. And then with this other one, I'm only going to be using one of the wings because I kind of want him to make him look sideways, and exactly the same technique again I've done on that wing there. Okay, so now I want to just put some paint on. There's the little beak that goes with this big head here, so there's the beak that goes on there, so I need to put some colour on there, and I need to put some colour on his eyes. So we'll kick off with this one. And I'm going to just put, I'll put some white on first, like that. And again, if you didn't hear me earlier, when you're doing these things yourself, it's a good idea just to paint the edges as well. It just gives it a nicer finish. And then while I'm here, I'm going to do these eyes. Now, these eyes have been etched for the little pupils. If you don't want to use those in that position, you just turn them over and you just use that side, and then you can put your pupils wherever you like. They can be looking outwards or upwards or whatever you want to do. So I'll just put some colour over there. Okay, so this one's dry, so I'm going to just now put a bit of orange on there. Like that. Leave him to one side for a second. And then there's another beak here. Now he's the one that's going to go on here, and he's got an eye, some eyes like that as well. So I'm just going to put some colour on those. So I won't do the eyes because I've already done them. I'm going to do them the same way as that one, so there's no point me showing you that twice. So I'll pop some white on there like that. Whoops, a daisy. And then we'll just get that dry. And then I'm going to make that one the quinacridone red. So I'll put that on there. It's dried off a bit, what I've got on my palette. So pop that on there like that, and like that. Okay. So we want those to dry. While I've got the, no, I don't need to do that because I've got that finished. That's fine. Right. So what we'll do now is now I can go on and I can show you how I kind of finish these off, ready to have everything stuck onto them. So basically I take a black pen again, this time I've got a 0.5, and all you want to do is literally just draw around the outside roughly. You don't have to be perfect with this at all. And then every now and then just do a little scribble on the line, and then I'm going to have a continuous scribble along there like that, and then we'll just draw around there. You probably find it's easier when you're doing this to turn the piece. Don't try and turn your hand because you won't get a very smooth action to it. Put a few more scribbles in, and that just gives that like an edge, a finish. Now what I want to do just to this beak at the end, I'm just going to pop on a little bit of orange paint. So, like that. We just paint that on there like that, just to finish that off. Okay. Right, so we can leave that to one side, and then basically you just carry on and you can draw around all of these. I'll do one more. So you draw around with your little squiggles here and there. Like that. And then what you can also do as well, with a black Posca pen or with a black paintbrush, is you can just colour in his top notch like that. So that just makes that stand out. Again, if you're doing it at home, you probably want to just do the edges as well. So while I've got that, while I've got the black pens out, let me just grab one that I haven't just dropped in all the paint. So with these eyes, you don't need to do much else to this. All we're going to do is we're just going to make that little circle black that's already been etched out for you. like that. And then we're going to just put little dots around the outside. Like that. Like that. And then just to finish that one off, I'm going to get a little white Posca pen and just pop in just a little dot in each one to create the highlight on there. Okay. Now with this one, the same thing again as we've edged the others. I'm not going to edge everything because I've got it all done already, but just so you can see, you can edge anything you like and it will just give it that little something like that. And we know that the beak is going to cover that up there. Right, okay, so I'm going to show you like the main parts of the birds now all made up. So let me just pop those out the way and I will bring in what I did earlier because you've seen virtually everything that I've done now. So this is the little bird with the cheeks, and that's his little beak that goes on there like that. And then there's his two wings there. Okay. Then we've got this little fella. So his eyes I'm going to offset a bit because I want him to look a little bit strange. And then that's his beak. And then there is his wing like that. So that's another one. And then the sideways one we've got. So I've done his eye exactly the same. You've got sideways looking eyes, like single eyes in the sideways packs. So that's his eye. And then there's his wing and there's his little tail feathers. So that's that as well. Now, what else is included is you get little legs. And they look quite fun as well. So a really, really easy way to decorate the legs, to make them look quite whimsical, is first of all we'll put on some white. So, and you want to put the white on 3 sides. I hope I'm not going out of camera here. Like that. And then you dry that off. I have a dying heat gun. It doesn't always work. And then with a black Posca pen, you literally can just draw little black areas on here like that. Let's move this so I'm more in the middle. So it looks like he's got little black and white stripy legs. And then of course you'd colour in the sides the same way. And then you can either leave him with a white foot or you can colour all that in and give him a black foot. Okay, so I've already done all the legs. So I'm going to make this one have his legs turning in like that. This one's going to have normal legs. And this one, his legs are like this. But I don't want his legs to be as long as that. So when I glue it all down, I'm going to cut those. Now, I'll just move these out the way. We'll go back to our tags and our base. So I'll pop those over there. And then this is dry now. So all I'm going to do with this is exactly the same as I've done round the edges of the birds. I'm just going to draw a rough line around the outside with the odd little squibble in there, like that. Keep going round. And then like that. A few more little scribbles. And then along the bottom. Like that. So that's your tag. And then I'll put that there, and then you'll see that I've done the other tags the same way, like that. Okay, so that's what I've done with those. Now we're going to go back to this piece, and what I want to do with this is I want to give it a little black and white kind of squiggly sort of effect around the outside. So if you're a bit worried about doing this straight off with a black pen, then just take a pencil and you just want to run a kind of wibbly line along like that, and then you want to just run another one along underneath like that, and then you get your black pen and you can go over what you've done. Like that. Like that. And then you want to create little sections. So put your little sections in. And then what we do now is every other one I'm going to colour in black. Like that. And then I'll get a white Posca pen and I'm just going to touch in very carefully the ones in between in white. If you go over the black line a little bit, don't worry, when the white Posca pen is dry you can just touch that in again with the black. Like that. And then we do that all the way round, so you end up with something like that. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to lay out where we're going to put all our tags. So I'm going to put those like that, and that shorter one there like that. So I'll get some glue and I'll glue these down. Got a glue brush somewhere, but I've lost it. Never mind, it's not important. Oh, there it is. Which is rock hard like a bullet, so I might have to use my finger. Might be easier. So we'll put a bit of glue on the back of here. And we'll glue that down there like that. bit more glue on this one. And I'll put that there like that. And then this one here. Put that there like that. So now I want to arrange my birds. I'm just going to clean my hands. So I'm going to put this bird here like this. So I might just raise him up a little bit because I want to fit his legs on, but I'm going to do something with his legs. So I'll pop that out the way, get a bit of glue, and pop him there like that. And then put his tail feathers on there. Put his wing on there. And then I'm going to put his eye on like that. So that's that. But his legs are too long. I don't want them that long. So I'm going to get some scissors, and you can just cut through the grey board really easy. So I'm going to cut a little bit off like that. I want him to have really short legs, so I want them to go like that. And I want that one to go like that. So I shall pop some glue on there. So that can go on there. And then glue on that one. Pop that on there. So he's running home for his tea. And then with these, so he's going to go on there like that. My tag's lifting up a little bit, that doesn't matter. I'm going to just glue his beak on. So that goes on there like that. And then his head will be, I might have that facing cocked to one side a little bit. And then his eyes, I can put his eyes on. Like that. There. And then, before that all falls apart, let's get some glue on the back of there. I can stick that onto his body. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'll put some glue on the back of his body. And I'm going to stick him there like that. And then I can put his two wings on. So do one like that, and then I think I might have the other one pointing upwards. And then again with his legs, they might be too long as they are. which I think they are a bit. I think they're a bit too long, so I'm going to cut those down as well. So he's going to have little short legs as well. Like that. So we'll just pop some glue onto there. And pop some glue onto that one. A little bit more. So that's him done. And then I want to put this little fella on here. So I'll take those bits off. I'm going to glue his head on there, or his body on there like that. And then his eyes. Actually, oh yeah, that'd be all right. You can be looking that way as well. That's fine. You can mess about with these so much. Give them all sorts of little expressions. And then put his beak there like that. And have his one wing there. And then his legs I want turning in. And I think they're going to be okay left long. So I'm going to glue those down like that. So is that one. And that one. Like that. And then I've just got one more little thing that I want to do. Now you can do this either by writing it yourself, or you can use, you know, a rubber stamp with a little saying. But I've just written out a little bit of paper, a little bit of card that says "My Weird Friends," and I'm going to put a bit of glue on the back there, and that I'm just going to pop up there like that. And that is the little whimsical birds finished. So I hope you've enjoyed my live this evening, and thank you to the guys of the group to ask me to do this live. It was very good of you. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon. So thank you. Bye bye.